This is your reminder, stay hydrated, essential. Hi, hello, what's up? My name is Tina. I love to talk about books, obviously, but also I'm in Japan currently. Living in Japan, I can say. So there's a lot of Japanese content, but today I'm super excited to film about the books, the great books I've read in May. We are already in June. It's crazy how time flies by so fast. And without further ado, let's just jump into the books I've read, because there are so many good books, but also some disappointments. Let's talk about them. First, there is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I gave this book 4.5 stars. It's not a favorite, and I'm super disappointed about that. I thought they would get only better and better, and I don't remember how much stars I gave to the first one. I think it was maybe also 4 or 4.5. I'll just put it on the screen because I don't remember. I'll just look into it. Wait. So I looked it up. I gave it 4.75 stars and it's only decreasing. The things I loved about this book is how politics is discussed, how the author is building up the political world, the political stakes, the strategies during the war, and I found that it was really well written and really well done in this aspect. But reading from Rin's point of view is just so painful, and I get that she's a flawed character, but also it made my reading experience so frustrating, and it made me not enjoy as much as I could also all the political strategies, the war strategies that were in place, that were taking place. Oh, by the end of this book I was so fed up with Rin. I really loved her in the first book. I loved how determined she was, how badass she was. I'm so disappointed. I get how you could want to write about a flawed character that is turning on her hatred and feeding on it, but no, it's not working, because everything she's doing and everything she's accomplishing is, according to me, thanks to others. I don't want to say too much. It's a no for me. It's a no. Even though I give this book 4.5 stars, I still kind of enjoyed Rin's personality when she's defending women and atrocities that women are suffering, and how raw the writing was about how women suffer during war. I enjoyed that because it was realistic, very realistic, but it's mostly Rin. I don't like Rin. I love Kite, I loved Neza until some point. So unfortunately I was just being, when does this finish? Regarding of how war can be violent sometimes, and reading from Rin's point of view is just too painful. So after this book I needed a break from the Popular series before finishing it, and I've read To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. How I loved this book so much. I gave it 5 stars. Where to begin? This is taking place in Macomb, in the southern city of the United States in the 30s, and this is depicting the everyday life of a family, a single father raising his 2 children, Scout and Jam, and we are reading from the point of view of Scout, and usually I'm struggling a lot with reading from the point of view of a child because I find it not realistic most of the time, but this was so well written. The plot of the book and the main focus of the book at first is not about Atticus the father. He's a lawyer. I'm not spoiling this because this is what's written in the plot summary, but at some point Atticus the father is gonna defend a black man who's accused of rape on a white girl, and in the 30s you know how this could be a death sentence, and it's not at first focused on how he is facing backlash and how his children are facing it too, but rather just the daily life of the children. And I couldn't understand why, but then I could understand how it makes you just emerge in their family and then understand even better how they're functioning and how he's raising his child with such empathy and such wisdom. Atticus Finch is definitely one of my favorite characters of all time because of this. This is not a very prose-focused poetic writing, but very accessible. I went through this book so quick because of how good it was. And I've seen on some reviews how there was some backlash against this book. Please be nice about this if you have different opinion from me. But a white woman writing about this, I don't remember in which year it was published, just let me look into it. Being a white woman writing, especially a woman writing in the 60s about such an important and crucial issue, which is racial discrimination, it's already a huge step according to me. I think, even though I agree that black authors and black writers should be more put up on the front of the stage, but if it's talked about, if it's highlighted in some ways, I think it's already a tiny step. I don't know if you disagree with this book being important and being loved, just talk about it in the comments. I would love to hear your thought about it. But yeah, to me it was such a beloved book, so I gave it 5 stars. Maybe naively, I don't see the problem in it, so please feel free to discuss it in the comments again. But yeah, love this book. So next, not talking and rambling too much about it, next I've read The Boring God by Arafquan. I really wanted to finish this series and I am so infuriated. I'm so infuriated by this book because I wanted to love it so much, but I gave it 4 stars and I'm wondering if I should give it less because so many different reasons. The things I loved first is how psychological war is depicted in this book. But I thought that the writing was so repetitive according to Rin's false semblance of remorse. She was going in cycles and cycles and cycles, and I can get how war can mess up with your mind and with your head. But really, if it was not for the others, she would not be there. She would not be there. And she is rambling so much about her exploits, how she's a god, how she's such a figure of this war, but really, according to me, she's not. She's really not. She didn't do a single thing, if not thanks for the others. And I hope I'm not telling too much about it if you've not read this series, but I'm so infuriating by her. While the second book was only the peak of war violence, this third book was only the peak of how I was fed up with Rin at the end. Even though the author maybe wanted to exploit the villain side of Rin, I mean, the end was okay, but the end was contradictory of how she maybe wanted to depict Rin. I don't know. And the trifecta plotline, what was that? Okay, spoiler, little spoiler. Please just move from the different timelines I'm gonna put under the video for the end of the spoilers. But the trifecta line, how can we be so hyped and so teased about the 3 most powerful people and then just whoosh, die because of some other nation? I mean, too easy to no, it was too easy to make the plot move onto Rin and how she's gonna no. Didn't work for me. But end of the spoilers. But one thing I loved also about this book, I forgot to tell you about it, is how the after war is thought about. What do you want to do after you win the war? What type of government you want to put in place? And I thought that this was super interesting and how they discussed democracy. This was a good aspect of it, so that's why I think I gave it 4 stars. It's because not everything is to throw away. Should it be a 3 stars nonetheless? Should I be this harsh? No, it's not a 3 stars, also because the world building is really well done. How the China folklore is depicted, that's why. Alright, on to the next book. I've read Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. Also a 5 out of 5 stars. He has done it again. He made me love a book about tuberculosis. It was so interesting. This is just reminding me how much I love to read about nonfiction when it's well written. It was such a short book. It's less than 200 pages, and his writing is just flowing. You read through the pages very easily. He's adding pictures, and it's the perfect balance between actual facts with numbers and everything and personal experiences. But the most important thing to me was not even to learn facts about disease I'm really not familiar with, but how this disease in particular and how it is staying with us for so many years. It's just showing basically how our governments, according to their health or not, are treating differently patients from around the world, and how it shows a disease can show the huge gap between poor and rich people when it shouldn't, when it really shouldn't. And I thought that this was so important and interesting. So yeah, I could not recommend this book enough to you. Definitely one of my favorite nonfiction, and also if you do not get attached to Henry, the boy he meets in Sierra Leone, and how he's using his story to have a linear plot in his book, which makes it easier to read. It's just, I loved it. 5 stars. No doubt, with no doubt. Then I've read Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukegawa. Yes, Sukegawa. And I also gave this book 5 stars. I was just easy on the 5 stars this month, except for the Popular series. As I'm a person who loves not to know too much about books when reading them, except sometimes for the trigger warnings. But there are not that many for this one, but just check the trigger warnings. I'm just gonna make an overall plot summary for you. This is about Sentaro, who is working in a dorayaki shop. This is the little pancakes with the anko paste, which is a red bean paste with sugar inside of it. And he is crossing the path of an elderly woman who is asking to work there. And from there you see how their relation develops and how other people are coming into their life and about their past. And it's just so sweet, but also so emotionally confronting because of their past and how they're dealing with it and how they want to move on with their future. It was funny how I read about this book after Everything is Tuberculosis, because there are some similarities in those books, and I don't want to say too much. Holy Guacamole, I loved it. Such a short book. I flew through it too. If you love Japanese culture and Japanese literature and literary fiction, please read these books. It's so good. It's not really action-packed, and I would not say it's really character mainly driven. There's also some plot driven story. It's a good mix of the two, but don't expect action-packed. It's just really sweet stories about how your past can interact also with your present. Okay, not rambling. On to the next book. I'm so excited to talk about those books. Next, I've read Catching Fire by Susan Collins, and I gave this book 5 stars. Another 5 stars. I was so glad to love this series after firstly the fact that I didn't give 5 stars to the first book in the series, The Hunger Games. I gave it 4.5, I think. The plot. Most of you have read the books, I think. I'm part of the 1% of the population who have not read this book when I was a teenager. Just in case, I'm gonna put spoilers here so you can jump in time, but I loved how they were facing the consequences of their acts of rebellions, kind of, because Katniss was just doing what her instinct was dictating her and not really think about the consequences and how much it would mean for the people of Panem and how much they needed this to start the uprising. And I've cried within the first 50 pages because of how an elderly people was shot. It touched the elderly people and I'm crying for sure. This book caught me from the first pages, and I love, even though it could sound repetitive to be brought in the arena again to fight, just the fact that all the victors were brought together to fight again. Gripping, addicting. Oh, loved this book. And the end with Peter. Yeah, so good, so good. So good that I had to read the next book right away, even though it was for just 20 pages. So yeah, I cannot talk about Mockingjay because I finished it on the 2nd of June, so I'm not cheating, but yeah, you'll know how I felt about this book in the next wrap-up, but I loved it. Another book I gave 5 stars again is Foster by Claire Keegan. I was gifted this book by One Seller Reading Louise thanks to her giveaway, and I'm thrilled about it. Once again, thank you, even though I don't think you're watching this video. I was not such a huge fan of these small things. I gave it, I think, 3.5 stars because it felt too short to get attached to the characters, but this one worked with me. Within less than 100 pages, my heart ripped. This is the story about a girl who is fostered by relatives of her parents. We don't know why. We don't know who she is. We don't know who the people who's fostering her are, but how the relation develops and how you're dreading for her through all the books because you're not really familiar with her background. And the end just got me. It was so sweet. I'm not a huge fan of novellas and short books usually, but this one gripped me. I went through it so easily too. I could have read this in one sitting. Love this book. Better for you not to know too much getting into it. I think it's gonna be part someday of one of my videos, like how to get into reading again with short books, or maybe which are my favorite short books. Such a good month, such a good month. Alright, so this is it about the books I've read in May. Such a lucky girl again, and I think I'm just choosing better the books I'm reading. I think that's that. I have so many anticipated books, if I can say it like that, for June. Books I have on my TBR for the longest time. I feel like it, at least. For the Pride Month, I will read On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Wong. I've heard so many good things about it. I can't wait to read it and see if I'm gonna be part of the team. I hope so. Of the loving team. Of course, on my June hopefuls, I have The Mockingjay, but I already read it at the time I'm filming this video, and I have 1,000 Splendid Suns that I'm currently reading too. I have Where I End, which was gifted to me by Louise also. Also for the Pride Month, I'm hesitating between Murder. I've heard so much about this book and so much good things that I really want to read it, but also I'm really hesitating with Our Wives Under the Sea, which same, I've heard so many good things about it, but it's on my TBR longer than Murder, so I really don't know. I'll see, maybe I will be able to read both. Who knows? I would love to read also a Japanese lit book, and I'm hesitating between the new Tsukijima book, but also Breasts and Eggs by Kawakami. So many good books incoming. So excited. Not rambling too much. It's enough. I've kept you long enough. As always, guys, you know it already, I think. Thank you for clicking, for watching till the end. Really hope you loved this video, and thus to see you on the next one. As always, also thank you for being nice. That's the most important thing and the thing I appreciate the most, to have a little cozy corner of internet like this. I'm thrilled. Every day I'm so thrilled about you being more and more and watching more and more of my videos. I really hope you enjoyed the Japanese videos also. Yeah, it's time to say bye.